So in order to use our time, because I have very little time today, unfortunately, I have to organize this in the middle of my teaching, so it's a little bit crazy. Yeah. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I think that except Maya and Andrea, the rest of us have a very clear understanding of what is as integration. So what I have said to Andrea and to Maya is that you will have to read a little bit and understand a little bit the protocol. And I gave you access to papers and information. So I guess that you have a basic idea, don't you, Andrea and Maya? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this I'm going to just go through very quickly. Elena, who has even much more experience than me, I haven't yet integrated your slides, but this is something generic that I had from previous integrations. We will improve that before the real event, yeah? But the idea is basically what is this integration is an event that is run over 2.5 days normally, and Stafford published a book. His last book was Beyond Dispute, the Invention of Teams Integrity, and in that book he explains all the theory, the methodology, and the whole idea of Teams integrity. The idea of this integration is to have to integrate a lot of people with very different positions, perspectives, and so on, and to be able to create a context in which enable maximum participation. Yeah, and it works around what we call an opening question. So for this event, we have decided on this opening question. How can Metaphorum and its members capture the learning from the current crisis and best contribute in radical shifts that society have to make fast? So this opening question, we discussed it in the organizing committee for long time. And there were many alternatives, but we ended up having to marry with one alternative, so we kept this one, okay? The structure of the icosahedron is the basis to organize the teams. So we have the teams and that are around the structure, and we have, this figure has 12 edges, and sorry that I forgot to translate it.
We got it backwards there.
30 people, 30 participants that are the nodes.
No, they're the edges.
Topics that are the edges, and then each participant is member of 2 teams and critique of 2 teams. If you see the figure of the icosahedron, for instance, the purple here. So this, oh God, this is always difficult to touch things without losing it. So this is the purple participant. Yeah, this participant will be a member of the purple team, and for instance, the purple and the red team. So the purple red will be, this edge will be 1 participant. So every participant will be 1 edge. So the purple blue, or the purple brown, or the purple yellow, or the purple yellow. Yes, exactly. So those are the combinations, and that's the way that we identify ourselves as participants in this integration. I'm gonna be purple red, or I'm gonna be purple blue, or whatever. And as we'll explain later, this is decided in the moment when the final agenda for this integration is decided. But very likely, yes, David, please.
Is Lucas with us, or did he go to the other room?
I don't understand why he's not here.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
I just got an interruption.
Ah,
so
right.
I'm listening to you, but
and
I just had to walk to a different place.
The other comment out, Claudia, you mentioned you have a very short amount of time. I'd say let's get into the E SYN variations and not go through it all, because I think most people here already have a pretty good foundation, and this is sort of for the participants as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I completely agree with you. It's too much to come. Okay, so
just one comment quickly. I think Joe would like the name. You've named it a icosahedron drum, and Joe plays drums, so he'd be very glad with the way you've changed from icosahedron to icosahedron.
I did that in a hurry yesterday. So
I know. Go ahead.
We'll improve that. Actually, the slides are in a slide share with the purpose that each one of us can visit the slides and improve whatever mistakes we see leave questions and comments, especially for you, the new facilitators. The idea is that between today and next week, you visit this slideshow and you leave comments, suggestions, whatever you consider that is not clear and not that is missing. Please contribute so that we can. This is going to be like the basis for communication, the communication with the participants. Okay. So okay, so this you can just see is this the idea of the structure. This is an idea of the meetings. This is what we call the problem jostle, in which everybody is just throwing ideas of statements of importance, and we do it with post-its in a Reels integration. We're gonna do it with Miro, this software that I ask you to have a look and to check, and will represent online this idea of a very creatively proposing ideas and then clustering them and then voting for the most popular ones and then finally choosing the 12 most interesting ones and providing what is called a consolidated statement of importance. So by the end of the first week, we will have done all this process of creatively suggesting ideas related with the topic of this integration, and then clustering them, then voting for the first one, and we will just in a very self-organized and democratic way come up with the 12 consolidated statement of importance that is the basis for the discussion of the 12 teams in the second week of this integration. Okay, so this is in Spanish, sorry. In your version in Google Drive, it's in English, very likely a very quick and bad translation. But anyway, I'll make sure to have it all right. And then we have the second week, we will have these rooms that we're going to have simultaneously 2 rooms on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And in each room, there will be at the same time 2 meetings, two info sets. The info sets have a color, so it will be the red info set, the black info set, and people will know at that point which teams are they going to have, which rooms they have to attend. And in that moment is where your role as facilitators becomes more relevant. We will explain later in the first week what will be your role, but in the second week it will be definitely your role because you are going to be taking care of one of these meeting rooms. So you will be in Zoom with a group of 10 people, 5 members, 5 critics, and we will explain the dynamics of how these Zoom meetings are going to be done. In particular, David and Elena, who are the ones who have a longer experience in integrations than myself, will help you to clarify any issues about how to facilitate these meetings. Yeah, and so we'll go through that hopefully in the next meeting. This is how in a real integration looks like an InfoSet meeting. You have a table, 5 people, a facilitator, and then the 5 critics, and particularly some observers. And the facilitator is distributing the time for speaking between the members of the group and is taking notes of what they say. So this is the main role of the facilitators, is facilitating the meeting, as you have done many times in facilitation, in your teaching, in your courses, in your meetings. Yeah. So we will have the facilitator doing that and taking notes. Very important, because these notes is the result of the meetings for the teams, and we will be sharing later on all these outcomes between everyone that attends this integration. Okay. The structure of the icosahedron produces what is called the reverberation effect, because it's the most structured geometrical form in nature, and it allows the maximum connectivity between different nodes and edges. So in the methodology is designed to produce this effect that everybody will be exposed as much as possible to everybody else's points of view. And the effect is amazing. I mean, those of us that have experience as integration know that this is really transformative. You really get very engaged, and you really develop a level of consciousnness of what the other people think and propose that is really beautiful. So this is one of the most interesting things of this integration. Elena, would you like to explain the participants' role and the roles of the participants and or David, would you like to explain this bit?
Either one of us.
Yeah.
Shall I start?
Yeah, go ahead, Lana.
the participants basically come together to discuss the topic that they have been assigned. Sometimes the facilitator asks the participants in turn to give their names and their initial take on the topic. Sometimes they don't. But basically the idea there is to get everybody interested in kind of seeing each other and hearing something from each other. I think it would be a good idea to do it on an E SYN integration so that people get to basically see the face and get some sense of the person. Then the participants discuss the topic for a set period of time, usually about 20 minutes. And at that point, the critics can come in. The critics can in turn make comment about the process, about something that they think the group ought to consider, or about anything else that they feel contributes to the meeting. The facilitator usually asks the critics to go in turn and specifically asks the team members not to answer the critics. Mm-hmm. So this is the critics' time. It's usually somewhere around 5 to 7 minutes. And after that, the team members go back. They discuss the topic, taking on board what the critics said. If the meeting is long enough, there may be another 5 minutes for the critics. Again, just the critics speak and the team members are quiet and take it on. And about 5 minutes or so before the end of the meeting, the team members put together a common statement that they want to go forward as the results of that team's meeting. And Angela just put up the critic. This is what the critics do. And I think people can just read that.
Yeah, just an addition to what you say, that is the critics are always expected to be like devil's advocates, yeah, to make sure that alert the members of non-question assumptions, unsupported conclusions, important topics that they are not questioning, new ideas that need to be taken into account. So there's always pushing a little bit the quality and the completeness of the discussions of the participants. Okay.
My comment like that is that our intention is that we will produce a participant flow through so people can also look at this coming into a meeting or during the meeting if they're uncertain. So it's often the face-to-face, it was only the facilitators who knew all this stuff, but now it'll be available to anyone online to go and check before they come to a meeting or in their observer time. And I think the other variable is that the meetings are quite tightly scheduled on the online version because they weren't sure how much time people could really commit from a home location. So for example, the notion that sometime there would be a second critics round is probably going to be less and less feasible than would be face-to-face. Yeah, these are just comments. I think that as members of the facilitation team from now on, we can invite conversations among ourselves as to what ideas come up for us. So this is sort of like an invitation for a conversation this week or for exchanging notes, because we know we're racing you through a very fast track at the moment. Okay, that's.
And finally, there's, here's the observer role. Good.
You want to explain, or you?
No, I think that what you have on the screen is probably sufficient. Okay. The observers do have a special role, though, in that they are not required to contribute. So they have a lot of time to think and to maybe note down any insights they get. But, you know, they may not speak in the meeting, but they may speak later.
Okay. Okay. And finally, plenary members. David, you want to explain this?
Yes. We're coming together as 30 participants to answer together a collective answer to the opening question. So it's not only the topics you're in, but you're looking at the notes that come up afterwards, and you're trying to look for the synergy and integrity of all the outcomes. And at the end, when each group gives its report out, we're trying to get an expression of what the sort of topography of our collective thinking is. And then each of us at the end have a moment to share what we're taking personally home and maybe what next is going to happen. So we all have a unique strut. No other person in the integration is in the same 4 topics. So the synergy between all those 30 different struts speaking is quite complex, but that is why we have 30 people, because we have a question that requires an awful lot of different perspectives to come up with an answer that blends the present and the future in a workable way. So that's the plenary member means we're all a member of the same community trying to build something that we care about together.
Okay, great. And David, would you explain this?
Yes, because this, I think, is the first experiment online, definitely in a Corona period. Each person who comes in is invited to be a co-researcher as they go through the process. In a way, it's a learning journey. We have 30 different learning, well, we actually have about 40 different learning journeys that are starting with the facilitators and the digital support team. And we're inviting everyone to make sort of an introduction video, sort of saying, as an incoming person, here's where I am at the start point, and inviting people to jot notes and suggestions on what's happening with them or what they do for the process in a place that they can look back at them, because we will be holding a reflection research meeting a couple of weeks after the close of the event, and everyone's invited to come either provide feedback or actually join us in the meeting and share our lessons learned with the next group, who will be picking up the experiment's potential and going forward. And I don't remember off my top of my head whether we have the date chosen for the research.
Yes, it's the 29th of January. It's Friday, the 29th of January. Yep.
Oh, great, great. By that time,
It's a comment. Yes.
the American president will have given his inaugural address, and we can get back to just normal abnormal.
Yeah. So anyway, this bit we are still working. David and Elena have produced the first draft, but this is still in work in process. So we are planning to develop a kind of evaluation form or survey or whatever, and we will be making more details about how are we gonna progress this idea of the research and after the experiment. Okay, so many of the things that you will see today are still work in progress. Most of it have been mostly defined, but we're still just tidying up things, and the invitation for you is to join the team and to help us to conclude all the final details and to immerse yourself in the experiment. Okay.
May I just say one thing quickly, Anna? At the end of every session, the facilitation team will have a reflection time together, and particularly as facilitators and a logistics team, you are really at the heart of the enterprise. So you'll be on the front line trying to deal with a lot of sudden choices you have to make. So I'm really looking forward to your newness to the online, but also the fact that you are a generation that works online a lot. So you are key learning team members, and really glad that we're at least getting to meet right away. Ciao.
Yeah. And also,
one quick point about this slide is on the times. Could you put which time zone?
All right. Okay. Yes. Well, all the time zones are UK for the time being. Operating in UK time zone. Very Anglo-centric perspective. Sorry about that. Anyway, so just take into account what David say, because we need you by the end of every day in this integration to have a short meeting between just the six of us, yeah, to reflect, to find out if there were problems, how are we going to avoid the problems the day after, and so on. Okay, put that into your agendas. Right. Next meeting, well, this is after next week. We have a similar meeting that today, but 2 hours, because we need to do a little experiment in each one of the stages. Would you be allowed to take 2 hours next week, like from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. UK time?
Yes, yes. But I think you marked 3 hours in the schedule. 3 to 6. I don't know.
Did I say 3 hours?
Yeah, 3 to 6. I don't know if it is
No,
3 or 2 or 3.
Yes, it's true.
We'll
Two?
just
Okay.
it's gonna be 2. 1:30.
We'll give you a free hour. Aren't we good?
So no, it's gonna be just 2 hours. Okay, next week.
Okay.
Yeah. Is Maya still with us? That I cannot see Maya.
I can.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Good. And you are all right also next week? Yes, you are all right. You are teaching with me. Yeah.
I am. But I will definitely attend this, definitely.
Okay. Good. Right. So on the 16th, those are not the. Oh, this changed, so sorry about that. I will update this. It's just 2 hours. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna go through the first stage. During the first hour, we're gonna do an experiment in Miro. So we send you a link, and I'm gonna resend it to the first experiment that the rest of the organizing committee did on Miro. That is posting statements. Just assume you are a participant and try to invent statements of importance, make post-its, and put them around. Yeah. And what we are gonna do is to attempt to do the clustering together, because this is the most complex bit of the online integration, is to do these post-its and to do this clustering online in this platform. This is quite complicated. So we want to experiment, make sure that what are the mistakes, what are the difficulties, how can we make sure that it's not going to be very messy, and that everybody can play the game without creating a huge mess, and everybody ended up having disputes or difficulties or whatever. So we'll do that in the first bit of the meeting. Then we're going to play...
Say a comment. A big emphasis for, if you haven't used Miro before, to go this week and look at the introductory videos, make sure you've done as much getting ready with Miro as you can in the coming week. I'll have to do it myself, such that by next week we'll have the experiment with beginners, but people who actually have read the manual a little bit for how to use Miro.
Okay, great.
I have a question. Sorry, I just didn't understand. Are we meant to do the statements of importance between now and next week so that we already have something to work with?
Yeah. It doesn't matter the content of the statement of importance, so don't worry too much about making it too exciting, or because we are not doing yet the real integration. It's just an experiment. So just create any ideas that come to your mind related with the opening question, and put it. I mean, if each one of us put 5. Between 5 and 10, we will have enough complexity to have a good experiment. Because in the real integration, everybody's going to be allowed to put up to 5, I think, Elena. Did we say 5?
Yeah, I think we said 5.
5 or 4. Anyway, so 4 by 30 people, that's, or 5, but that's 150 statements of importance that will be in a Miro board, and that people will have to reorganize. Yeah.
By next week, it'll only be 5 from each of us when we come in. We'll see the statements of importance that all of us have put up during this week, and then we'll practice the clustering. And then from there. So the answer is yes, put them on before next week.
I was just asking because there already are some clustering. There already are. So we just do it on another part of the board.
Yeah, no, just continue the experiment. So do it. If you want to put them inside the actual clusters, do it. If you, you can leave them outside without clustering. So we're going to just play around and see how does it feel to play the game all together, and hopefully we will have more than 30 statements of importance. Hopefully we will have 50 or 60 or something like that, to play the game for a while and to learn together what the participants are going to be experiencing, and what do we need to do to make sure that it works when we're in the real experiment. Yep. Okay. Right, so that's next week. We do first the experiment on the problem jostle. It's called in the reals integration, the problem jostle. And then we do the second experiment that is gonna be voting for the most interesting topics. Yeah, there is a Zoom facility for voting that Stefan is gonna get ready for us. So we'll do the voting, and then we'll do the final experiment that is the lottery. So we will pretend to be participants. John is gonna guide us to a lottery, and the lottery is basically you are given a shift to make a choice, and you can decide, okay, I want to be in the red-white team, or I want to be in the yellow-green team, or whatever. So we'll do that experiment of the voting as well, hopefully, if we have enough time in the 2 hours. Yeah. If we don't, we may need another 2 hours. I think it's very likely that we will may need another 2 hours. So next week we will find out more time to do that before the 6th of January. All right. We can promise you it's not going to be during Christmas, so we will not ruin the Christmas of everyone, but we may need another couple of hours from you before the 6th of January, if that's okay.
Uncle, let me ask a timing question. I know you have to go to another class at 4 o'clock, or coming up the hour, but are we able to stay on this Zoom and answer some questions further?
But only until 20 past 3, because I have to open another Zoom at 20 past 3.
And you have to leave at 3?
I can be with you. Let's stay all together till 3:15, and then I'll leave you to go.
Okay, then I'm just making sure that there was time for questions and answers before we closed. Yeah, good.
Right, so this is next week. Now, getting ready for the experiment, what we need to do, attend in December the 21st, we're going to have a kind of introductory plenary with all the participants. That is going to be a little bit like this. So we're going to share with the participants in advance the slides, very likely this kind of slides improved and perfected. And we are going to just have an introduction to each other and let them know what we are saying to you. Learn Zoom, learn Miro, be ready, and get ready for the first meeting, okay? We are going to ask them to upload a brief overview of their history and hopefully a little video of themselves, so that before this integration we get to know each other. Yeah. So that's previous the event. We will talk more about next week. And basically people need to find out to feel comfortable with using Zoom and Google Drive and Miro. So this is the agenda for the proper E SYN event. January the 6th to the 8th is the first day, and then we'll have an opening plenary. We will explain how to do a statement of importance, and we will ask all the participants to post it, to do what we are doing between now and next week. They will have 24 hours to post experiments, statement of importance in Miro, yeah, and to do the initial pre-clustering asynchronously, so they will do it in their own timing. Then on Thursday at 4 p.m. we will have a clustering exercise. That's what we are gonna simulate next week between us. At 4:30 we'll do boundaries, host and titles. We'll explain that next week. And at 5 p.m. we will do the first voting. That's what we're gonna practice next week. 5:30, the organizers will produce a timetable with 18 Zoom meetings for people to join these Zoom meetings, to do them brief meetings of 20 minutes to decide on the consolidated statement of importance. And then we will have and that's it for that day, these 9 Zoom meetings. Yeah. By the end of the day, we will have 18 consolidated statements of importance, and on the Friday we'll do another 9 meetings, another 3 streams, 20 minutes each, and the host will upload consolidated statements of where these meetings will have hosts. We won't be facilitating these meetings. We will ask one person from the emerging meetings to facilitate, to be the host. So the host will be the person that will be in each one of the rooms and will be making sure that the whoever comes to that room will contribute to a consolidated statement of importance. So that will happen on the Friday. It's a 4-hour session. And by the end, we will do the final voting, that is to select the final 12 assignments of importance. And then we, the organizers, the logistic team, will allocate colors to topics, and they will prepare the lottery sheet. And then at 6:15, half an hour later, we will do the lottery. And in the lottery, people will be given the opportunity to choose the preferred team, and then we'll have clarity by the end of this which teams are you going to be participating in this integration. And there will be an opportunity for trading slots. So that's all. During this week, the facilitators, you will be participating, you will be attending all the meetings, but you don't have, in this moment, we don't have total clarity in terms of our role. That's something that perhaps Elena, David, and me need to discuss a little bit further, before next week. But in principle, the idea is that we won't need you to be facilitating, just to be attentive, to be contributing. I mean, perhaps alerting us if there is something that is not working, being very attentive to the chats in Zoom. If people are raising alarms, this is not working, this person didn't come, or I don't know what to do. So just help us to coordinate the whole thing, okay? So the first week for you is easier than the second one. And then
I have one question. Are you gonna share the Miro space to put all the statements of importance?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
We will buy a Miro license so that we can have a proper participation and organization and all that, and we will be sharing that with everyone. Okay. Okay, so this is the second week. In this week, we will have, on Monday, we will start 15 minutes early to have a plenary. Welcome to everyone. And then we will start the meetings. This is where your role as facilitators is more important, because what we need is to have shifts in the facilitation, because it will be very tiring if the same person is facilitating one meeting and then another and another and another and another and another. So what we are going to do, we are 6 people who are going to distribute the meetings between the 6 of us, because it's 2 simultaneous rooms. So each one of us will have one meeting that is 50 minutes facilitating, and then a break of 2 meetings, and then another meeting in which we are facilitating. So because there are 6 meetings, each one of us, in total 12 meetings, so each one of us will be facilitating 2 meetings every day, okay? And the final agenda of which meetings we're gonna be facilitating, we will provide it with you in advance. So in anticipation, you will know I am on Monday at 4 p.m. in meetings 5 and 6, and again at 7 p.m. at meetings 11 and 12. All right. So that's all gonna be organized by the logisticians. We will be told which meetings we are, and that's it. At that point is where we need your facilitation skills and your understanding of Zoom, because you will be co-hosts of the Zoom meetings, and you will be the ones who will be there, will allow the participants to come in, and will be taking all the notes, and will be, facilitating, making sure that there are not conflicts, or to dissolve the conflicts, or, to do proper facilitation. And very importantly, taking notes. Yes, David, come on.
Well, I was expecting to see Pedro Pablo here today.
Yes, I don't know what happened to him. I'm very surprised why he's not here. I don't know.
You gave me a big shock when you said the 6 of us were going to have to do all this, and I thought I got myself out of it by being a research consultant. So I was going, oh my God, I've got to learn all this by next week. But let me know if Pedro is still with us or not, because it'll affect the rest of my week.
Okay, I'll take care of Pedro Pablo. He's actually teaching with me as well this afternoon. I don't know if he misunderstood or whatever. It's also his birthday today. I've just realized.
Oh, okay. Birthdays are good excuses.
That may explain it. He may have had other priorities at lunchtime, so I really don't know.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Anyway, I'm recording this, so I'll ask him to have a look in the recording and come back to me with questions, okay? So the third day is the same than Monday and Tuesday, but it's shorter. The meetings are 40 minutes rather than 50 because we need to build up time to do the plenary. Yeah. So we'll have 40 minutes, 5 minutes changeover, and then we will have at 6 half an hour preparation for presentations. And at 7 we'll have the plenary that is 12 5 minutes presentations. Each team will do a 5-minute presentation. And then at 8, we'll have 31-minute reflections per participant. This is going to be recorded with video and everything, and this is going to be like the output of the E SYN. Yeah, this is going to go to the website of the Metaphorum, and this is like the output that we will take with us. And then is the closing. David is organizing some social events, so very likely we're gonna keep open the Zoom meetings for those who want to just informally talk to each other, share an online drink, or play some music or whatever. So David will inform us later about the social aspect of this integration. We're trying to make it this really interesting and exciting experience, and so the whole team is thinking about ways to make it appealable and nice and enjoyable rather than something boring and dry. Okay?
May I make a comment there is that as facilitators, you will also have periods when you're not facilitating. So you'll have other times you could either choose to be an observer, or we'll have a lounge all the time. So at any given time, there are 10 people who are observers out of the 30. And they can come in the lounge and meet a facilitator and share what's going on with them. And in the lounge, background music, we may, for example, ask participants to name a song they like to hear during the course of the process in the lounge. Possible we may use a little bit of meditation and some cartoons, but something to make it that there's an informal process happening as well as the race through the technology in the time we have. So if any of you had experience with making online meetings a little fun and different, please share those. And in a way, it's an experiment. So also think about how they may affect the way you like to facilitate your outcome resolves. Okay.
Great. Yep. Right. This is the detail of each one of the stages, and I don't think that we're going to have time to go through all the detail. So the first day, the introduction, basically we will explain that we are in charge of that, so you don't need to do anything about that. We will do.
I'm going to interrupt here because I think almost all the stuff that you're going to tell us is on the sheets to see. And we only have 10 minutes left. I'd really invite us to open it up for reactions and questions and answers rather than more input. Is that okay with you?
Yes, well, I don't know, Maya, Andrea, Lucas, how do you feel?
No, I didn't. I meant Ankila, just you. Questions to Ankila, but it's to everybody. Do you feel ready for questions and answers yet?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm more than happy, and I agree with you. We don't have time in 10 minutes to go through all this. It is in the slides, and it's all the detail, and you don't need to do something about it because we are in control. I mean, we that's what we've been designing collectively for the last months. We've been months and months meeting every week, and there is still a few things to do, but this is all, let's say, in hands. Yeah. So in terms of facilitation, what you need is to have a look on there, and please really ask any comments that you need to know anything that you need to know to be relieved that you can participate and
yeah, you can practice being a critic, and you can even be a devil's advocate if you like now. But you've been patiently listening. Now tell us what's going on in your hearts, minds, and heads.
Yeah.
Lucas, what do you say?
Actually, there was only one question, because it's always a bit, how to say, when you're facilitating, when do you choose the time for the critics?
That is a fixed time that comes actually even from the logistics headquarters, announcing at, I don't know exact time, but let's say 30 minutes in, there will be an announcement saying 1 minute will be critic or commentators, critics time. So that will be basically signaled from quote headquarters, although you may shift a minute or two before or after, but it gives you the space, the timing coming out.
But normally the answer is 30 minutes for the participants, then 10 minutes for the critics, and then another 15 minutes for the participants, something like that, or not, David, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's roughly like that. We'll know for sure by the time we meet next week or get into the actual day starting.
But you give like the critics or the participants, they have time after the second critics to still work on the proposals in that way.
Yes, there's the closing phases for the topic team members to come to an outcome together. They've had the commentators' inputs. I call them commentators, but they are critics, sorry. They can use them or not. They're gifts that were given, but they're the people at the table in charge of where they want to go with them. The only little tip also from facilitating is that the critics have a fixed time. So you sort of have to warn or police a little bit that one person doesn't take 8 of the 10 minutes and the other 4 only have 30 seconds each. So there's a bit of a balance need between the 5.
And the idea is that we as facilitator write as much as possible down from the content, what was discussed. And
yes, we're still deciding. We haven't made a final decision which is the best software to use to take the notes, because one possibility that Elena was suggesting was just to use the chat. But the problem with the chat is that it will be splitted. Yeah, it's not easy to concentrate the whole of the discussion. So the other possibility is to use a Google form, a Google Drive or Google Forms or Google Docs.
Google
Docs, so that we will have each one of the teams of the facilitators will have their own Google Doc document open and will be taking notes and sharing the screen of the Google Docs with everyone. Yeah.
Or through Microsoft Teams, if you have available Microsoft Teams, you can share one Word document and all of us can write. But I don't know if Alina and David have this access.
With Zoom, we cannot Zoom and Teams, so we are with Zoom.
Okay.
I think that we will go for Zoom and Google Docs. Yeah.
Okay. I have one question about the meetings. We are facilitating 2 simultaneous meetings, or they're apart from each other. I don't know.
Apart from each other. So
okay.
Simultaneous. So I mean, we can decide on that if it's more convenient for some of you in terms of time management to have 2 share meetings. We can privilege that. But in theory, the idea is to have a break. Okay. So that you can relax a little bit before getting into the next one. Yeah. But I mean, we can come up with a proposal once we have the final agenda, and we can discuss that before the meeting. I think that we, as the facilitator team, should have a meeting before the 6th of January. Yeah. So the meeting next week and another meeting before the 6th, before we start, just to clarify the final things and to make sure that we are all in the same page, and that if there are more questions or something, that we need to be ready. Okay.
After the meeting, the facilitator will type up the final statement that the group wants to go forward and submit that to the logistics team.
Exactly. Yeah, very good. And what David was saying before, very important, is allocation of time. One of the most important roles of the facilitator is to make sure that everybody has the same right to speak. Yeah, I mean, in a way, we are rebalancing power, because how personalities work, and there are always the very strong personality that start talking and blah blah blah, and doesn't want to stop, want to say talk and talk and talk and talk, and that's us. We will have the power and the responsibility to make sure that this person doesn't take over and doesn't overuse the time, because this is a basically democratic methodology that makes sure to allow the same amount of time to everyone to speak. And so also, if you have the very shy person that is silent all the time and not saying anything, it's your responsibility to say, okay, I haven't heard anything from you, Andrea. What do you think? We would like to hear your voice. Yeah. So that's...
Sorry, I'd like to add a point there, is that as each outcome resolved meeting will be recorded completely anyway, because we'll be putting it, making it available for the research team to go back and look, or even the facilitators, which also makes it possible that at the end of each meeting, as the participants, topic team members come to what they want to present, that last couple of minutes can be put up as a video summary as well as the written one. We haven't, as facilitating team, talked through how feasible that is online, but in a way people can go and look at and see what happened in another meeting overnight, because it's going day by day. So we're still debating what the value is of having a video summary as well as a written one. Elena, you might want to say something about that.
Well, I think with respect to the video summary, in person, when that sort of thing has been done, one of the team members who doesn't have a meeting the next session will essentially go and stand in front of the video camera and do that.
Well, that's a good idea.
But it's basically totally up to how they do it. Somebody might just want to read their statement of their final statement. Somebody else might want to elaborate a little bit. But I think that the logistics team and the facilitators can police the time. For instance, it's pretty easy to police the time of the critics, because you tell the critics, basically you have 1 minute. And I don't know if we can have a little animated clock, which might be helpful, that would tell people at any given time, you know, how much time there is for everything. But if someone is overusing their time as a team member, usually rather than the facilitator jumping in and telling that person to shut up, the facilitator might ask the team if they're happy with the distribution of the airtime. And usually they will say, no, so-and-so hasn't had a chance to speak. The other thing the facilitator would do is, as Angela said, is if someone is shy of saying, when there's just a tiny bit of a break, we haven't heard from Joe yet. Would you like, is there something you'd like to contribute? But the bigger problem isn't someone who's totally silent. The bigger problem is that some people talk more than others. And that is, usually to some extent you can let that go, but if it gets too much, you have to turn around and say to the team, you okay with this? So-and-so talking all the time. Because basically what you want to do is you don't want to direct, you want to facilitate the team in directing. So giving the team members essentially the autonomy to decide the dynamics of their own process within the schedule that we've got and within the limitations that we're putting forward ahead of time.
I'm aware of your timing and having to go. Are there questions and things that either Andrea and I want to throw in, and we may also please feel free to send me an email or put comments on the slide sheets. But
some of us may also have to practice doing the split screen. I don't know about everybody else, but I have a laptop and I don't have a monitor.
Oh yes, so that was a good recommendation. If you have access to a split screen, that way you can watch what's happening and be chatting on two different screens.
I think the other thing about the note taking is the idea is not to take verbatim notes. The idea is to take notes of the main points. And also, I think it's helpful to distinguish, maybe to stick a C in front of the when the critics begin, so that it's possible to distinguish in the notes which things have been critics' contributions and which things have been team members. And in person, you can switch colors of your marker, but online, probably the only thing that's feasible is to put a T and then take the notes from the team members, and then a C when it's critic time.
Sorry, I need to call Pedro Pablo because he's supposed to be teaching with me in 10 minutes.
Okay,
And we'll see you all next week. And here we
Please
go.
send us
Yeah.
comments,
have a good week, everybody.
and we'll see you again next week, okay?
Okay,
Everyone.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.